We had always dreamt of putting something in our property in the ROC Valley. COVID hit in March 20th, 20, and we started thinking of a place far away from the city where my elderly parents could go, as well as family and friends, to get away from the crowded city and breathe fresh air in the beautiful valley. I contacted Diana Leiton and her one-woman company called Containers Costa Rica. Initially, she seemed like she knew what she was talking about. It was clear, however, that she had no capital and that she wasn't going to build it and let you pay as she advanced. That is why she wanted a large amount up front. She used the gimmick that she needed 60% up front and 35% pretty soon after, because it only would take 8 weeks to complete it and would arrive 90% complete to the property from her warehouse. After 8 weeks, blaming COVID, transportation issues, workers' child sick with dengue, delays with the transportation of materials, etc. The only thing she was able to produce was a bad picture of the outside of a container that clearly was not mine. I told her I would not make the second payment until I saw my container at her warehouse. She eventually sent a picture of a container that looked like what we had agreed on the design. It made me trust her again. It was the first time I saw my container, even though the 8 weeks that were stipulated in the contract had come and gone. It would take 6 more weeks of more excuses until finally the container was to be delivered. By then she pressured me to pay 95% of the total cost, since the container was to arrive 90% complete. Finally, in October, 4 months after we signed the contract, and 2 months late, the container did arrive in the property, but 50% complete, if that. It had no windows, no front entrance, no deck, not a working water heater, not even a door to the bathroom. She came up with more excuses to delay the project. It was obvious that she had spent the money somewhere else. She continued with multiple excuses, taking advantage that I was in the U.S. By this time we were really frustrated with her unprofessionalism. She took 3 more months with excuses, leaving the container with no windows at the mercy of the elements during the worst of the rainy season in Costa Rica. Hurricane ETA brought tons of rain to Costa Rica in those weeks, and our container got water and mud inside. I remembered one of her multiple lies was that she couldn't bring the container to the property because she wasn't going to until she made sure the windows were ready to install them right away to protect it. Well, it seemed it was okay to leave it for 3 months at the mercy of the elements with plastic. We realized that it was not going to be ready by Christmas, 5 months past due. At the moment, we decided to opt for the legal route. I got to say that I ignored the red flags that were all there. Diana Leiton doesn't really own a company. It is a one-woman operation, and she hires the cheapest labor. You can see for yourself in her page the kind of work she does. She doesn't have one Facebook page that shows her work with a company name. Instead, she goes by Containers Costa Rica, Eco-Friendly Developers, Containers Latin America, Diana Designs, among others. Which makes you wonder why she has to go by so many different names when it is a one-person operation that is not even registered in the National Registry of Costa Rica. She couldn't provide references when asked either. I initially contacted her to make a container so that my elderly parents would use during COVID. She instead decides to steal the money and lie. I can't believe that people like this exist. Since we live in the US, she found it easy to blatantly scam us. Our lawyer contacted her to negotiate and ask for the money for the windows before we go into a litigation process, which she would be found guilty of owing a lot more. She continues to hide as of now. Please don't make the mistake we did just because someone sounds like they know a little about containers. If we had done our due diligence, we would have not used this scammer $23,000 for something that looks more like a dumpster than a home. She has got to be a very sick person to do something like what she did with us. My idea was not only to write a blog about her experience to serve as a warning to others for construction scammers like her,